We are going to be going over JSON files and what JSONs are. And start right here. So what is a JSON? Just to start off. I know we've been throwing JSON around, but does anyone know exactly what it is? So it's basically um, a shared language between humans and machines. So it's a structured way to represent information. It's robust and lightweight, easy to read for humans, easy to read and parse through machines, and it's used within APIs, system configurations, and even AI outputs. So hopefully you can see my cursor here, where I just made a little snippet of a mock meeting minutes where the meeting was held on March 3rd with the analytics and HR teams. Several issues were discussed, including delays in reporting and inconsistent data formats. It was decided that weekly check-ins would be scheduled and Alex will follow up with the documentation by next Friday. So instead of giving you a whole wordy paragraph, the JSON basically breaks it down into easy read parts. So the meeting date, March 3rd, uh, teams, analytics team, HR team. The two issues found, reporting delays, inconsistent data, and formats. The decisions was to schedule weekly check-ins and the action items, which we're designating to the owner, Alex, is to provide documentations, and it's due next Friday. So it's just an easy uh, breakup of information. So it's not necessarily fancy, it's just organized. So why do we use JSON? LLMs are very good at sounding right when sometimes they are wrong or they tend to give you fluff. It's a very good way to force clarity when using AI outputs. So you can designate exactly what you want for this. So say you're a store owner and you have items to put on the shelf. You need an actual template for your pricing system or your inventory system. So here we have an orange. It's a navel orange. That's large for the name. The food type, of course, fruit. If you had a vegetable, obviously it would say vegetable here. The pricing for it is woohoo, 60 cents per orange. I know that's kind of cheap. We like that. We have 40 in stock. Our brand is our home market brand. And the nutritional facts of this particular orange. Um, moving on. So it's also easy to reuse it. You don't have to make one for every single item in the store. You can keep generating and using this template for as long as you want. And we're going to go over the standard JSON templates. So we have the object, which is this open and close bracket, which houses the entire object. The key values is basically how do we call this or what do we call um, these particular values. So name, food type, price, stock. etc. If there's a list, the list can house multiple strings. It can house multiple integers, multiple floats, even true and false. Now, true and false, I didn't add here. We can get to that later if you want, but it's not necessarily in this example. Now, getting a JSON from an AI chat. There are multiple ways to prompt a AI chat. Usually it's the normal, we call zero shot prompting, where we just ask it one sentence only, no example. So here we have extract the following information and return a valid JSON. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack jump over the candlestick. So it's gonna do what it wants since it's an AI system, since we didn't give it any railings, it just makes its own JSON formatting. So we still have the object formatting right here, the open and close, but within it makes its own keys and its own values. Designated from, of course, we prompted it from the information. So character Jack, actions, and then for every action it has description, be nimble, description, be quick, action, jump, and then object, candlestick. Now, if we're going to if we want to be more specific with our AI, we're going to have to guide it more. So we're going to do a little thing called prompt engineering, where we give an example and clear instructions with it. So instead of just telling it, give us a JSON with this information, we're going to say, you are a structured data extraction assistant. So we give it a role. This is what you do. So get into this character. Return only a valid JSON. Do not include any explanations or extra text. That way it does not hallucinate, because sometimes AI systems tend to make its own information. So we want to put railings on it. So then we give it an example. So input, Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. And the output, we want it as give us the characters, so the key and then the values, Mary and lamb, actions, had a lamb, and object, lamb. Now extract structured information from the following text. And then we give it the information we want it to parse through and create the exact template we want, where it's characters, there's only one, which is Jack. The actions he takes is be nimble, be quick, jump over the candlestick, and the object is candlestick. I hope I didn't lose anyone. Everyone okay? Okay, good. I only can see my slideshow screen. All right. So now I am going to give you all a 5-minute exercise. But before I do that, I am going to upload a little cheat sheet for you. Let's see, can I do it in here? Chat.
This
I
is,
possibly should have named this better. Just trying to find the file.
oh yeah, sure. This is really great. I mean, I'm already thinking of things that I can use this for, and I know some of you on the call are already using this regularly, but it's great to get an introduction to this. One thing was wondering about is suppose I asked an LLM a question and I asked for the response to be in JSON format. Is that going to change the content of the response or just the organization? Does asking for it in a JSON first change the content? And if so, then maybe we want a two-step process sometimes where we ask the LLM, you know, to respond and then ask it to put the response that it just gave us into a JSON format.
Yes. So it also depends on how much information you're trying to feed it at once as well. It will do its best in organization, but you have to do your best as well for the template. Else it's going to pick and choose what it thinks it's important.
Yeah, how you define the template makes a big difference. Yeah, I'm still wondering though. I mean, I'd like to run some, it'd be interesting to run some tests on that. Like we have an experiment that involves asking like role prompting LLMs and then asking them kind of survey questions to get at the features of their personality. And so say you have like, 30 questions like that, a 30 question survey. You role prompting the LLM to take on this particular role, ask the questions, role prompt the LLM to take on this other role, ask the questions, and so on. If we ask for them to give the replies to the questions in the JSON format, would that change the actual content of the responses, like how they would answer the surveys under that role or not? And I think that I'm worried that it would, in which case I would want there to
Mm-hmm.
be an intermediate step where they first answer the surveys and then they take the data from their previous response and put it into a JSON format. So I could check that, Anyway, that's just an interesting question that arose for me as you were talking through this.
Exactly.
Could I suggest something?
Sure.
That in that point, you might also ask for it to put it out in a Word text. So you could put it out in a Word text so you can, when it produces the JSON for you, you could also ask it to put it out as a Word text, and that way
Mm-hmm.
you could see what kind of detail it was giving you if you were making comparisons. So you have the same time as producing the JSON, also request a text file.
Oh, okay. I see. You can ask it for both, and then you
Right.
can.
And you can
Mm-hmm.
compare and contrast. Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, yeah, and that doesn't like fully convince me that the problem would be solved though, because if it's running on the information I'm giving it in the prompt when it's producing both, then the fact that I'm asking it for both can affect the content in either one of those documents. Which is why I'm tempted to ask for the information first without telling it the format I want it in, and then ask it to put what it just did into that format. Because then I'm sure that the sequence it's following is the one that, is capturing what I want to capture about it. Okay. Cool. So Anjali, you have an exercise for us. Do you want to talk us through it?
Yes. Let me pull this back up. All right. All right, so there is a 5-minute exercise of just going to Chat GPT and you can act as a store owner, adding products to a store system like we went over with the orange. You could be a teacher collecting grades for a test. Um, and I put the third one in here for commonly mistyped words for those with dyslexia. because there was someone last week that talked of it as well. So I've tried to sneak that in there. You can make your own scenario, not it's not restricted to these three. But I wanted to give you sort of a buffer of to think of what you want to prompt your chat GPT interface for a JSON file. So it could be a nursery rhyme, it could be anything basically you want it to be.
Okay, so do we want to just everybody take 5 minutes and do this, and then we'll compare notes for 5 or 10 and talk about what we found? How's that?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do that.
All right.
So I
Tell
and
me when.
I have some I have a little mini workshop to do too, but I think it's worth just kind of, spending some time on this since we've just learned something about it. Let's try it out and let's compare whatever we produce. So great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I put the cheat sheet up on the chat, so that helps you as well. All right, I'm starting the timer.
I'm sharing my screen so people can, I mean, I think people are already working on this from the document, but I'm just adding that in there, and Anjali can let us know when the timer runs out.
Does anyone want to share first? No takers?
I can share. I'll do it really quickly. I'm not sure I did I followed your instructions exactly. I think I didn't, but I did play around with JSON a little bit.
All right.
So this was all I did. I'm going to do more of this and learn more about it, I'm sure. So this is actually from the command line. This is I'm running a llama here, so I'm asking the llama language model rather than ChatGPT. And I have told it you're a video game designer with a flair for the unusual. Produce a JSON description of 3 characters for a science fiction themed role-playing game. Produce only valid JSON. And then this is what it gave me. Zara Aurora Blackwood, who is a human Ctian hybrid, um, has these equipments: graviton infused sword and a chrono shield. Kale the Unyielding is a cyborg, etc. So he gave me 3 characters in the JSON format. I think it's interesting these like different object types, right? Because we have like strings like Zara Aurora Blackwood, which are in double quotes, but we also have like numerical quantities like level 5. And then we even have lists. So we have like for attributes, we have a list of attributes, which are themselves all defined. So that's like this object attributes is actually a list of objects. And then for skills, it's the same way. And for equipment, it's the same way. And under equipment, we have the definition of objects that themselves. No, well, anyway, I don't know. So there's this kind of nesting going on that's interesting. Anyway,
Yes. Mhm.
that's all I got.
Yeah, that's really cool. You asked it to make something up, so it did, but it still kept the JSON formatting, so that's still good.
Somebody else. I mean, I guess, yeah, I think your exercise, you're imagining people taking some content and putting it in and asking the system to reformat it as JSON, which would make sense too.
Yes.
Anybody else want to share what they were able to do with this?
You can do a number of things. So you can, text is the basic formatting for it, but you can actually give it an image and it will still create the JSON formatting for you. I haven't dabbled in their voice yet, but I'm pretty sure for audio, it might be able to summarize and give you a JSON for the transcript as well.
Can you hear me? Oh, I think.
Hey,
Oh, I can hear
Osola.
you.
Hi, hey, Prof. Good afternoon, everyone. So I tried. Actually, it's JSON makes life easy for complex tasks, especially when it is dynamic and you don't even know what the structure will look like in the end. So let me share my screen on that task and what I did. Um, okay, so what I did is to give it a popular Bible verse that has much of a subject and an object for God. So love the world, a lot of action tasks there, and a lot of objects. So I did that. It gave me this JSON. It's really difficult, especially when it is not indented, to know the dependency level, the um how the whole stuff is nested. So I did the next one and it gave me this. So I took it to JSON viewer and the first one is a little bit loose in terms of the command we gave to it. Is it assumes a lot of things. For instance, it went ahead to tell me whatever the Bible verse is, even though I didn't give it to. I think this is a lot of that is going beyond my instruction. Then it passes it into entities, actions, claims, and themes. And then we can see how each one, okay, God, deity, the word, collective. So these are entities and all that. So, and it has this. So the one that is stricter, the second one, I think is more um, programming inclined for further processing. Yeah. So all of the preambles are there. And you see a kind of is making it look like a relation already in terms of all the entities. It gives all the entities ID. And then in the relation, E1, which is God, loved E2, which is the world. Okay, so it and then went to the second one, E1, which is still God, gave E3, which is his one and only son, and the rest. So it's it became more aware with the second instruction than the first, and I'm able to make more sense of the second output than the first. So that's what I did with the task.
Okay, good. This is really good. Yes. The more parameters and restraints you put on it, though, it gets catered more to your viewpoint. So if you prompt it with less and just say, just do it, it's gonna do it, but it's probably not gonna be in what you really wanted it to be formatted as.
Yes, one other thing is this goes from um right to left, that is from LLM to us. So I think in going from us to the LLM, passing JSON also to it, maybe there are some other rules that we may need to familiarize ourselves with in terms of naming and clustering and how you cannot put a space in the name you give to an entity, how one can depend on the other and the rest, so that's another thing I also want us to bear in mind. Thank you so much.
Mhm, thank you.
I'm
All right,
tempted
do
to
we
just
have?
keep playing with this, but I
All
know that
right.
I can't because we have to move on. Yeah, what were you gonna say, Anjali?
Yes. Oh, I was gonna say if another person wants, we could probably take one more. Otherwise, we can keep rolling.
Yep, sounds good. Anybody else want to share what they did? Betty, Martin, did you guys do anything with this?
Yeah, I was at a bit of a loss, so I asked it. Sorry, I'm looking at this. Uh, I asked this. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm sorry. I'm gonna. Yeah, I just had this here. I can send you a document. Maybe you could show. I'm sorry. I'm not using my work machine to for the communication, but I asked it. I want to be able to understand how well you do writing it and how well it conforms to what I give you. I asked it, if it writes a JSON, and it ended up giving me something with user profile and name and age and email and preferences. Then it offered me a relationship breakdown where it talked about your words, my JSON implementation, and notes. I could send you that document right now if you wanted. But
Yeah, sure. You can send it
Oh
to us. I can
yeah,
share my screen and you can talk through it a little bit and just
okay,
email it.
definitely.
let me just save it and I'll send it to you. I'm sorry.
Cool. These things always take a little time. This is fun. I mean, I'm going to use this. I actually really wanted something like this for this project that involves like giving the surveys to the LLMs because the answers come back in a very unstructured way that then requires like tons of data cleaning. And so now what I can do is I can ask for the responses in the first pass, and then I can ask in a second pass, put that into JSON format, put that into this JSON format. And then I have structured data, right? And then it's just easy to like, do the data analysis. So this is just super useful for a project I have going on right now that's in revise and resubmit with Ola Sola, actually. It's our paper together. So
All right, I'm sorry.
Wonderful.
Where I was. Let me just get this.
sure. I wonder whether it would make sense for me to go ahead and dive into my, what I have to. Oh, you want to share it, Kalishi? Why don't you share yours while Martin is getting set up?
It's off to you now. Let me send it.
Test, test. Can you hear me? What I wanted to
Yes.
do initially was to get the data, right? Because I'm anticipating it was going to give me the data, however format it felt like. And then I was going to do the exercise on the data retrieved. A couple small problems. I was being a little bit greedy. So this was my original request. You're a structured data scientist. It has primed itself as a structured data scientist. And then I was asking for the list of all countries in the world as an object with the attributes population, GDP, and mean age. It so happened that this was unspecific enough that it required me to do a few clarifying questions. Question one, do I want real statistics or just the structure? So if it doesn't exist, it will just return as null, or was it guaranteed to find all the answers? I asked for real world statistics, and then it goes, okay. Do you want the data from the most accurate survey, which is the 2022 World Bank survey, or estimates from 23, or perhaps just give me whatever is available as at this day? And then if I'm done, this is the JSON. This is the format of the JSON that it will return. So I asked for 2022, and then it goes, okay, dot. I can't directly output all the countries. So I will write the code for you to do it on your own, which was what I said mine failed when I was working on the exercise. So that's where
Now,
I am.
yes, if it's very large, it will not print it out for you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's something you have to do on the API side, but keep in mind there's a thing called tokens where they still restrict you on how much the AI can print out. just because everybody is using it and, well, they don't want it to crash.
Understood.
I believe there's tiers as well. So if you're a very high paying member, sure, you can print out all of that.